And that was a joke. I'm kidding.
Do we have a motion to approve the CBG FY25 grant?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, great. A lot of business to have covered, gentlemen. Comments from the board now. Open to you, Trustee Dills.
All right. Jim, I'm going to talk about something that's really not township related at all. It's a difficult topic to bring up, but it's been on my heart for the past couple weeks, and I was hoping it was going to resolve itself, and it didn't. So some of you may or may not know about a situation out of Milford High School. And now this came to me. I didn't go to it. It fell in my lap, and I had quite a few people bring it up to me, and then it pulled on my heartstrings, and I wanted to talk about it. So there was a young lady, and she passed away 2 years ago, took her own life. She was a sophomore in high school. Her name was Caylee Maston. And Milford's doing a good job, but they're not doing a great job. And keep in mind, I'm a Milford Eagle. I graduated from Milford. I played varsity soccer, wrestled, and I spent several years on the Milford Marketing DECA Advisory Board for several years and sponsored students. So I support Milford. But I feel like they are dropping the ball here. And so what happened was they are allowing, they're going to give a diploma, an honorary diploma to her mother and her family, and then they're also going to read off her name and put her name in the book. But that's it. And her mother and family is requesting that a chair be placed where she would sit at with perhaps maybe a picture. And Milford won't do it. They're not budging on it. And so this was brought to my attention, and I dove into it quite a bit. And I met with Superintendent John Spicer and talked to him, and great guy. We had great dialogue back and forth. He was very open to discussion, even though we're on opposite ends of this decision. But he's not budging. He won't do it. And I personally think it's wrong. I do. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And his argument is that according to doctors and counselors, that it'll cause more grief and pain for the students and the families to see an empty chair there than it would do good. And I strongly disagree. And I would say, has there been any studies done on the good that it does? I think it gives closure. I think it, and so I had, and there's also a petition going around, and there's almost 6,500 signatures in support of this mother, allowing her to have a chair for her little girl for graduation next month. So I had talked to a few people that I consider mentors and my elders, and to get their advice. And they all agree with me. They think that the Milford Schools is in the wrong, and I completely agree with this. And so, and then I talked to my sophomore. I've got a sophomore in high school, my daughter Sydney, and I had a very adult-like conversation with her. And I told her the situation, and I said, "What would you want your dad to do if you're in the same situation?" And she said she would want the chair there to honor her. And I'm like, "Well, do you want me to make some noise about this and draw attention to it?" And she's like, "Yeah, absolutely. I think you should, Dad." And I'm like, "There might be some haters out there, and I might get some negative PR on it. Are you sure?" And she's like, "It's worth it. It's a good cause, and I think you should." So with that being said, I don't know how many people watch these township meetings, but this is me doing just that. And you might say, "Well, you're a trustee for Union Township. Stay in your lane and let the schools handle it." And maybe you're right. I thought about that too, but as far as I know, no one from Milford City Council, no one from Miami Township, and no one from the Milford School Boards is saying anything. So this is me doing just that. And not only did I go to Milford, but some of Milford is in our district. You got Polo Fields and Terrace Ridge. And so this is me doing just that. And if anybody disagrees with me, it's okay. I understand the disagreement part of it, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And if no one else wants to stand up for this mom, then it will be just me. But that's my personal opinion. And I think Milford Schools is dropping the ball. And I think hopefully this puts pressure on schools to have a policy to allow this if the family wants to allow this. And so the good thing is I talked to the mom, Julie, And, I said, hey, good things can happen out of bad situations, so hopefully this puts schools on notice to have a policy to, if a family wants to have certain things done, that they allow it. And I understand the buck has to stop somewhere, but still, I think that this little girl made a tragic mistake. She didn't know what she was doing. Beautiful girl, played soccer, AP courses in high school, and personally, I don't think it's a big deal. And I think it would be a great way to have closure for a lot of people. And so, just my personal opinion, and gentlemen, I don't expect you to comment on that because I came out of nowhere, but that is my soapbox, sir. That's all I have.
Yeah, you got me to say a few words on it, and I will. But I'll hand the floor to Mr. Becker.
I'll be very, very brief. First off, I'd just like to applaud Mr. Dill's comments. I like that a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Like the way you've handled all that. Beyond that, I've had plenty to say on multiple topics this evening and don't have anything else to add.
Okay, yeah, hey, so thank you for sharing that. You gave me some things to think about and some notes I wrote down here. So I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to talk with both of you as board members on this. So I want to do this timely to keep us moving through the evening here. So Milford I don't know how it got to it, but I do know several years ago, I'm sure because somebody asked in the community, or the students put it forward, they had homecoming queen and queen, and that's a very outward-facing public response to something the residents or students or someone must have asked for, which you could make the same sentiment that can be damaging to however Mr. Spicer may have relayed this to you, that by honoring someone's empty chair could bring up pain and difficult feelings and emotions and be, I could say the same is very much true for a number of different people. Maybe people that have a 7, 5, and 3-year-old and sending them to a public school system and don't necessarily want to have the conversation about queen and queen and American family values at that age, or maybe you have to for a foundational lesson. So I think that it's talking out both sides of their mouth. And I believe that it would not bring pain. I've someone that's been through a lot of trauma with death, being 18 and 19, with one of the most combat engaged units in the Iraq War. 184 of us deployed, 23 were killed, and 37 wounded. And we honored their memory, and we still honor their memory, and every time I talk about them and tell you that, I'm honoring their memory. And that brings healing on that. So as that goes, I'm looked up, their graduation's May 18th. I think that I'd be as bold, gentlemen, to say that we pass some type of written resolution honoring this girl, and or also calling on Milford to support the wishes of the mother. And when's the next time that we send TIF money? And what happens if we don't send TIF money to Milford?
So I did research on it, and not really much we can do. If we do a TIF district and it's in that school district, they got.
It's fine. I'm sure we can delay paying it. I'm sure they can. I'm sure Mr. Becker can pull something out of a purchase order, and I can pull something out of a purchase order for a bit of time.
But
I'm serious.
I know,
right?
But the JED money's got to go to Milford. Milford's not required to give any of that to school. That's up to their choice. But the TIF money has to go.
The TIF money for the school
has to go to the school.
I know that.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that, but for the TIF money to go to the school, we have to vote on it. We have to prove it. That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm open to hear what the response is when it gets delayed. I'm not saying do anything wrong. I'm saying it gets delayed.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Delay the TIF money. I think it's a very reasonable request from this board that sends lots of money over to Milford schools.
I don't want to break any laws, but
I don't believe that we would be. But I want to ask the law director to take a look at it. So, and to that note too, people shouldn't have to go through that. I think it's a good reach out to the governor's office as well to see if the legislators and if they want to put something in place in the future that school systems, a family grieving should reasonably be able to make the request. This hits home for me. We had a couple classmates killed in high school at 16 years old, and we honored them at the high school graduation ceremony 2 years later. So, thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you, sir.
So, I don't know if you guys want to support any type of resolution on that. I'd say a formal letter. I'd say something. I'd say resolution and place it in that chair honoring the girl, and that's our request. That's our ask. And let it package hand in hand with the TIF money. That's my piece, if one of you will back me.
Well, I didn't expect anyone to comment on it because I knew, but whatever you'd like, Mr. Chairman, because I fully support this mother, and I don't think the chair is that big of a deal. I think it brings more peace and closure than it does anything else, if you ask me, so. That's my thoughts.
I'd like, Corey, I see you write some notes down, if you can deep dive into it with Mr. Conover maybe, or a law director. I don't want the township ever to be exposed to anything that we shouldn't be exposed to, but as someone that strives for doing what's right in our community,
So, a
you gotta
couple of
stand up
things.
sometimes.
May I make just a couple of comments? So, we are actually under a settlement agreement with Milford Schools related to our TIF right now. And I don't want to spend Union Township taxpayer resources defending that agreement or an action or a breach on that. That said, I'll talk to Mr. Conover about the payments and all that, because the board, I'll do whatever you guys want.
No, make the payments. I mean, I don't want, we're not.
I don't wanna be in
I'm not
breach.
breaking any rules or breaching.
Right.
anything.
I'm not
It's
saying breaking
it's
rules, I'm saying,
but-
I'm sure there's a way to delay the payments
But
and
what
make a
I,
strong request. They should reasonably be able to hear us.
but what I was writing down, sir, was, if I heard you correctly, you wanted to do a proclamation.
I was
So we have a
thinking
meeting on
of
the
that,
13th. And their graduation is when?
May 18th. I was saying, research it if that's, I'm for it if other people are for it. I'm for it if the family's for it. I'm for it if the mother's for it. I'm for it if who Mr. Dills has been speaking to is for it.
So I just want to say,
I'll put all offers on the table, is what I'm saying.
just saying, we get elected to do our absolute best to make the best decisions for the township in the 4 years that we're here. And sometimes I just like to have a voice. I'm not asking for any pressure to put a proclamation together. If we decide to do that, I would absolutely sign it. But that was, I honestly did not expect either one of you to comment on it. It was just the past 2 weeks, and I've been waiting to see if Milford was going to, because 6,500 signatures is a lot of signatures, considering there's a graduating class of 500, right? I thought they were going to change their policy for the greater good. I thought they were going to, and they didn't. And I'm like, well, okay, I've been waiting for 3 weeks on this, and they haven't. And so I decided tonight during my comments I was going to talk about it. So I'm not expecting anyone else to join me in that, but if you all would so choose, then
Yeah.
I'd be grateful, so.
I'm sure that some of those 6,500 signatures are Union Township residents, and we can voice their concern. I think that's something that we do.
Fair enough.
So, but thank you you've been wearing it on your heart, and appreciate you sharing it, and I'm
Actually,
putting some
I just got a
structure to it.
sophomore daughter, and it just hit me. It hit me hard.
I-
I'm like, yeah, so, yeah. Oh, good, okay.
What do you think, Mr. Becker?
I'd certainly support some type of proclamation.
Some type
That's
of,
great.
okay, there, we got, I think, all three. Okay,
I'll
thank
get
you.
with you on the details, Mr. Dills.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Please
Okay,
feed him
good.
details on, yeah, perfect. All right, great, well, thank you. Okay, we're closed out then on board comments.